Good morning. This is Shindo again this morning. This is the video that I originally intended on doing this morning before I saw the news about the new satanic panic going on in Houston. I wanted to discuss a man who is getting more and more notoriety, more and more popular, and is being considered by the Christian right, especially what they are now calling the alt-right, someone who is a prophet. He prophesied in 2011 about the ascendancy of Donald Trump. His name is Mark Tylor, and he is referred to as the firefighter prophet. He was a firefighter at one time. What is particularly disturbing about this man is that he is as on fire for Donald Trump as a symbol, at least, of his God, the Christian, Judeo-Christian God of the Bible, you know, the one that calls upon his people to kill all the non-believers. That sort of Christian God, not the Christian God perhaps of your parents, of my parents, but a Christian God for a new millennia. That is, the old Christian God of the Old Testament and of the Dark Ages. I'm telling you, we are living in the Dark Ages when a man like this is coming to the fore and becoming more and more well regarded and more accepted. I'm going to give you a little bit of the background of this man. I'm not reading from any article. I am just recalling from my memory, and I've listened to several videos from this man himself, who has been interviewed on multiple different talk shows that most of them probably are only on YouTube, but he has a growing and powerful base of support. Alright, Mark Tylor was at one point a firefighter. I believe, now, some of you may know more about this man than I do, and if you have links that give more descriptive things than I give here, right now I'm just doing a basic discussing him, because I have a feeling I'm going to be doing several videos about this man. He was a firefighter for a while. He became sick. He says that later he was diagnosed with problems with his thyroid, a very slow thyroid. I can relate. I think I know what that is like. So for a long time he was basically bedridden, spent most of his time inside in his home. And around 2011 he received what Christians might call a word of wisdom. He was told by a voice. Honestly, if any of us said that we hear a voice tell us something, we would be marked as either possessed or, insane. But because he heard it, and because he's a Christian, he's widely accepted for hearing this voice. So sometime in 2011, he was listening to a talk show, and a voice came and told him, "You are hearing the voice of your president." And the voice he was listening to on the talk show was the voice of Donald Trump. So he assumed that Donald Trump was going to become president in 2012. Well, since Trump did not become president in 2012, and since he was prophesying that he would, normally he would be branded as a false prophet. But folks, he's a Christian. So therefore, as far as other Christians are concerned, he can basically do no wrong. I'm sorry, lumping all Christians in there. There are a few, because it is Christians that are exposing this man. True Christians. I don't even want to call them Christians anymore, because what a Christian is today is a liar, someone who is full of hate, someone who talks about everybody else behind their backs, someone who wants to wipe out all other religions on this planet, someone in this country who seems to think that the United States of America, that God is draped with an American flag and loves the United States of America as though it's the most wonderful thing that God ever created in the universe. That's a Christian today. So I'll just say followers of Christ, those people who actually abide by the teachings of the Christ, are the ones who are exposing this man. Well, since obviously Trump gained notoriety in 2015, 2016, he started, that is, this man, Mark Tylor, started to get more and more attention drawn to him. Now, I'm going to give you a link to a fairly long video, but if you want to actually get into the minds of the people who firmly believe that God has called Donald Trump to be a savior. I mean, it's a very, very short leap that they're going to take from how they're referring to Donald Trump now to calling him the Messiah. In short order, they'll be doing that, folks. Well, these kinds of people, and like I say, listen to this. It's an audio. It's a talk show, where this is a recent talk show within the last few weeks, where Mark Tylor is speaking. In this, you'll hear him say things like, those people who were duly elected in California who are against Donald Trump and against Donald Trump's mission should be, there should be a rising up, this is his term, of Christians to get rid of them and replace them with people who will do what Trump wants to be done. Well, folks, that's what happens in a dictatorship. So, this guy, Mark Tylor, is also saying that anyone who says that these are the, quote, last days and that there's horrible things coming for Christians, he's referring to them as false prophets. He's saying that those kinds of people are the people who are not hearing the call of God like he obviously did back when he was infirm and at home and heard this voice. And he hears it often. And if you listen to how God is supposedly speaking to him, I think that any of you who have any amount of discernment would understand that this is Mark Tylor talking to Mark Tylor. So he's calling for anyone who is against Trump, especially, of course, in the government, to be thrown out, cast out of government. Basically, he's calling for a coup against anyone who is against Trump, and then to be replaced by Trump supporters. Christians are referring to Donald Trump, these particular kinds of Christians, like Mark Tylor. They're referring to him as though he has restored somehow something that was lost under the liberals. And the liberals are being cast, just like I predicted, the liberals are being cast as this evil anti-American group of people. First they'll go after the Muslims, then they'll go after the liberal Christians. The liberal Christians. I'm going to play a little bit of this video. It's called Mark Tylor. God is now in control. People in general. This is at about the 13-minute mark. Now, I want you to hear how he's referring to the Christians that are not getting on board the Trump train. So I'm going to play part of this video. Mark Tylor, God is now in control, February 23rd, 2017. And I will, of course, put a link to this video in the description box. Look at the picture it uses. I'm going to try to find it. I'm going to try to find it for this video. But if I don't, you can see the picture they use. It's a picture of Jesus who is standing behind Trump as this apparition, like this ghostly spirit figure. He's standing behind Trump as Trump is signing one of these executive orders. And Jesus is reaching over, and he has his hand on Donald Trump's hand, as though Jesus himself is signing what Donald Trump is signing. Folks, it's not going to be much of a leap to go from God has chosen Trump to God is Trump. It will not be much of a jump, folks, once they're there. Okay, here is the video at the 13-minute mark.
Well, on the left, people in general, there's a sense of panic. It's only going to get worse.
Right, and you know the thing that you say about that is true, because it's not just the left that's panicking, but you've also got a huge majority of the church that's panicking, because they've lost their discernment. They still cannot discern that Donald Trump was chosen by God, and that this is God's agenda that's going forth. You know, you take the immigration issue, for instance. We talked about this, I think, before, where God was going to purge the land. God is going to purge the land. He's already purging the land. I mean, they just did a 12-state sweep, getting rid of some of these criminal illegals that are in here.
Forgive the bird here, but God is going to purge the land, folks. God is going to purge the land. God in the form of Donald Trump. Purge the land. Cleanse the land. They're not going to stop with illegal immigrants, with Muslims. The next step is going to be just all the liberals, but especially the liberal Christians. And then after that, they'll start coming after any of us who do not keep the Christian faith. It is, folks, the Dark Ages. Okay, resuming with the video.
Christian. You know, why are you getting rid of these people that's not Christian? We should be taking them in, this, that, and the other. Well, my answer to that is, well, when you're willing to take them into your own home, let me know how that works out for you. Because it's not going to turn out too well. Some of these people are criminal. Now, if they're here legally, that's fine. But, you know, it's like the church is still having a hard time trying to comprehend that this is who God has chosen. Purging the land is not Donald Trump's doing. It is God's doing. God's plan and agenda is to purge the land of any and all illegal activity, corruption, gangs, ISIS. It doesn't matter who they are, to get rid of all of them. It is God's agenda, God's plan. He is utilizing Donald Trump in order to do that.
Okay, folks, it is God's plan to purge this land of all these people. Okay? Do you think they're going to stop with what they're calling the criminal element, the illegals? Do you think they're going to stop? I say it more often than I need to, but wake up, folks. Those of you who voted for Donald Trump who aren't Christian, I imagine that most of the people who are listening to this on my channel, certainly that have gotten this far in this video, are my typical subscribers who are not Christian. I don't know who you voted for, but you need to pull your head out of your ass. If you voted for Trump, he is not going to support you if you're not a Christian. This is all part of the agenda. This idea of stopping the New World Order, this idea that somehow we're preventing the elite from taking over, is nonsense. It was all a red herring to get somebody like Trump in eventually. And these are forces that are so beyond our comprehension. And if you don't believe it, hey, it doesn't do me any good to keep beating my head against this wall. It doesn't do me any good. I don't make any money off of these videos. It does me no good to be constantly attacked simply because I am expressing what should be right there in front of the eyes of anyone who isn't blinded, who isn't part of this new Trump cult. Wake up, folks. If you're not a Christian, you are an enemy of the state, especially if you're a liberal, especially if you're not in the whole conservative alt-right gang. We are seeing the death and destruction of this country, and with it the world, and with it the age. And it's not going to come quietly, and it's not going to leave peacefully. This is a fight, all right, but let them fight it. You need to be aware of these things, and I'm trying to make you aware of them. If you're not subscribed to my channel, subscribe. Like my videos. These videos here that are anti-Trump, I have 21 thumbs down on a video I did a few days ago. It's from basically one person. But he knows, and the people who thumb it down know if they thumb it down, then it will fall off any kind of list on YouTube for people who are looking for this stuff. And it's important that people find out about things like this guy, Mark Tylor. And this certainly isn't going to be the last video I do about him. This is a scary movement of people. And you know, the comparison is overdone, but it is an apt one. It is like Nazi Germany, the beginnings of Nazi Germany. The Nazis, when Hitler came to power, were like 10% of the country. So don't think because there's fewer of them that they're not going to be able to seize power. It's going to take people like me. I'm going to put a link also to a Christian, a follower of Christ, to his channel. His name is Brother James Key. Now, I'm not a Christian, but the things he says are absolutely true. He recognizes who Donald Trump is. I may be doing him more harm than good by endorsing him, but I do endorse what he says with regards to Donald Trump. The Christians like him, they're going to be the first to go. They're going to be the first ones gotten rid of. That's not what I am about, and that's not what our House of Hallel is about. We will not only survive, we will thrive through these coming days, and the House of Hallel will continue to stand into the next age. This age is ending. The Abrahamic faiths are destroying each other. And well they should. Well they should. You have brought virtually nothing but destruction, pain, sorrow, wherever your horrible abomination has spread on this planet. This is Shindo. Have a good Saturday.